My husband beat me with a belt because I refused to serve his sister like a maid. She's a queen, and you're a big-nosed mare. Clean up after her, he hissed. My mother-in-law just stood there clapping. It's your job to feed my daughter with a spoon, she said. If you don't like it, leave. You're just a poor nobody. But none of them had any idea what was coming tomorrow. Welcome to our channel. If you enjoy our story, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for your support and enjoy listening. The first time Alla came to our house, she acted like a queen. I still remember that October evening, 3 years ago, when my husband Serioza told me, my sister will stay with us for a week. She just got divorced, he added, not looking me in the eye. Her husband kicked her out. She just needs a place for now. I nodded. Of course, I understood. Family is family. But that 1 week turned into months, and then she just stayed, no end in sight. Alla settled into our living room like a cat in a sunny spot. She didn't try to find work. She said her nerves were bad after the divorce. I understood. I went through a divorce too, so I felt sorry for her. I made her breakfast in bed, ironed her clothes, cleaned up after her. It was only temporary, or so I thought. My mother-in-law, Valentina Ivanovna, came every weekend. Look how thin my daughter is, she'd say, hugging Alla. She needs to eat well. Give her vitamins. She's still hurting. She looked at me like I was starving her daughter. But I cooked everything Alla asked for, and she asked for a lot. Borscht exactly like Mom's, meat patties only from beef, cottage cheese casserole, but only with homemade sour cream. After dinner, Alla would lie on the couch and say, Lena, can you massage my feet? I'm hurting from stress. Serioza would nod. Can't you see?
She's not well.
Help her. And I did. I massaged her, brought her slippers, rubbed her back. I still thought it's only for a while. But after 6 months, I got sick. High fever, nearly 40 degrees Celsius. Couldn't get out of bed. Alla came into the room and asked, Lena, what's for dinner? I invited Dimka over. Dimka was her new boyfriend from the gym. I can't cook today, I whispered. Can Serioza buy something? She looked shocked. What do you mean, you can't? Dimka's coming. Serioza came in. Come on, it's not a big deal.
Just make a quick soup or something.
Alla's nervous. She wants to impress him. So I got up with a high fever and made dinner for 4. Dimka didn't even show up. He canceled last minute. After that, something inside me broke. Not all at once, but I started to notice things. Alla always took the best pieces of meat, left me the fat and bones. She used my makeup without asking and never gave it back. Serioza always gave her a plate first, then remembered me. My mother-in-law called Alla our girl, and me just Serioza's wife. Then came the breaking point. After a year, Alla finally got a job, but she quit in a week. The boss is a jerk, she said. Always yelling, and the pay is garbage. The next morning, my mother-in-law rushed over. You did the right thing, my girl. No need to ruin your health for money. Serioza will help you, he's the man. I asked carefully, what about our vacation plans? We'd been saving for 6 months to go to Turkey. Serioza shrugged. Come on, Lena. Alla needs help right now. Our vacation money went to help his sister for now. And I spent my time off painting the fence at my mother-in-law's dacha. That's when I realized temporary had become forever. And I wasn't a wife in this house. I was the maid. The one who brought in money too. But neither Serioza nor Alla nor my mother-in-law noticed that. Or maybe they just pretended not to. Alla was glowing. She caught up on sleep, gained weight, and started wearing bright makeup. Guys were always flirting with her, but she always came home. Why move out when everything was perfect here? Breakfast in bed, lunch ready, dinner just the way she liked it. Laundry done, clothes ironed, house clean. And the best part?
It was all free.
If anything bothered her, she just complained to her brother. He'd fix his wife me. I worked, took care of the house, served Alla like a maid, and kept asking myself, when will this end? But deep down I started realizing, never. Because they were comfortable. And comfort is like quicksand. It pulls you in and doesn't let go. You can only escape one way. Fast and forever. Then the worst part began. Not the beatings, they came later. The worst part was how they started breaking me down from the inside. Bit by bit. Like I was a piece of old furniture they needed to reshape for their needs. Everything changed when Alla met Igor. He was 15 years older, divorced, rich, and had a car. Alla saw her chance and decided to impress him. Lena, she said that Tuesday, I'm inviting Igor for dinner on Friday. Can you make something special? I said yes, stupidly, hoping if she got married, she'd finally move out. I bought expensive fish, shrimp, made an avocado salad, decorated the table like it was a holiday. Igor came, ate, and said, Alla, you're an amazing cook. She just smiled and stayed quiet. She didn't correct him. She just took credit for my work with silence. The next day, my mother-in-law Valentina Ivanovna rushed over for details. Igor is thrilled with the dinner, she said. He says our Alla is a perfect homemaker. I opened my mouth to say something, but she cut me off. Lena, you understand, right? Alla needs to keep impressing him. She might invite him again. You'll help, right? And I helped. I cooked, decorated, served, while Alla just sat there looking pretty and taking all the compliments. Igor wasn't stupid. He knew I was the one doing everything. But it was easier for him to pretend he didn't. Why ruin things with his new girl over the maid? A month later, Alla said, Igor and I want to live together. But he only rents a one-bedroom, and I'm used to comfort. Lena, you don't mind if he sleeps here sometimes, right? Seryoza agreed right away. Of course not. Igor's a good guy. He might even help us. 2 weeks later, Igor moved in. No one asked what I thought. They just told me. Just for now, until we find a bigger place, Alla said. But I already knew what for now meant in this house. Now, we had 4 adults in our small apartment. And Igor turned out to be even more demanding than Alla. His coffee had to be ready exactly at 7 a.m. Eggs soft-boiled. Shirts perfectly ironed. I have important meetings, he said. Appearance matters. And somehow he had meetings every day. Alla completely relaxed. Why do anything when Lena does it all? Lena, pack lunch for Igor. Lena, wash our clothes separately. They're expensive. Lena, vacuum our room. We're expecting guests. And the guests came. Loud weekend parties. I served them like a waitress at a wedding. Seryoza became a shadow of himself. In his own home, he was no longer a husband, just a younger brother lucky to be allowed to live there. Igor quickly took control. He spoke to Seryoza like an older brother to a child.
And to me?
He barely spoke, just gave orders. Lena, coffee. Lena, dinner. Lena, where's my suit? That's how they spoke to me. And my mother-in-law? She was thrilled. Finally, a real man in the house, she'd say. Look how well Igor takes care of everything. But his idea of taking care was strange. He ate our food, used our things, slept in our apartment. And once in a while, he brought a bottle of wine and called it help. But that wasn't even what hurt the most. What broke me was how they looked at me. Not like a person, like I was a machine. You press the button, it works. Turn it off, it waits in the corner. I could sit in the same room for hours and they would talk like I didn't exist. We'll visit Igor's mom. We'll buy a new TV. We're redoing the living room. We always meant the 3 of them. I was never part of it. Then came the belt. It was January, 3 months after Igor moved in. I came home from work, completely exhausted. 2 coworkers were out sick. I had to cover for them all. I walked into the kitchen and saw a mountain of dirty dishes and a note from Alla. Lena, we went to visit Igor's friends. Be back late. Please cook something for tomorrow. His parents are coming over to meet us. I stared at that note. And for the first time in 3 years, I didn't feel hurt. I felt furious. They were out having fun, and I was expected to cook for their guests. I crumpled the note, walked to my room, and went to bed. I didn't wash the dishes. The next morning, I woke up to loud banging. Seryoza was slamming kitchen cabinets. Where's breakfast? He shouted. Igor got up too. There's nothing to eat, he said. I came out in my bathrobe. Good morning to you too, darling, I said calmly. Serioza looked at me like I was crazy. Are you sick or something? Make breakfast now. Igor's parents are coming at 2. I'm not cooking, I said quietly. He froze. In 7 years of marriage, he had never heard me say no. What do you mean you're not cooking? I said, I'm not cooking. Let Alla do it for her Igor. Or he can cook himself. Igor walked into the kitchen unshaven, in a t-shirt and underwear. He looked at the dirty dishes, then at me. What's the problem? He asked Serioza, like I wasn't even there. Lena's acting up, Serioza replied. She refuses to cook. Igor snorted. Got it. She needs to learn her place. He stepped closer. I could smell alcohol and smoke on his breath. Listen carefully, he said in a low voice. You're not the boss here. You're the maid. A good maid does what she's told. A bad maid gets fired. I looked at Serioza, hoping he would stand up for me. He didn't. He just stood there. And even nodded. You both are insane, I said, heading for the door. Suddenly, Serioza grabbed my arm. Stop. You're not going anywhere until you apologize to Igor. I tried to pull away. Let go, I shouted.
No.
You'll learn to respect your elders. And that's when, for the first time in my life, I slapped him. It wasn't hard, more from desperation than anger. But Serioza's face turned white. He stared at me, shocked. Then, slowly, he walked to the closet. He opened it and pulled out a belt, the same one his father used to beat him with. Serioza, what are you doing? I whispered. He folded the belt in half. I heard the snap of the leather in the air. Something I should have done a long time ago, he said, strangely calm. Igor stood nearby, smiling. He was enjoying the show. The first hit landed on my shoulder. I screamed, more from shock than pain. I couldn't believe this was happening. That the man I'd lived with for 7 years was hitting me with a belt, in front of another man. The second hit was harder. I lost count after the third. Enough. Alla ran into the kitchen. But she wasn't yelling at Serioza. She was yelling at me. Stop screaming. The neighbors will hear. She was standing there, beautiful, well-rested, in a silk robe. Serioza, stop acting like a child, she said, annoyed. Waving a belt around. Lena, just go cook breakfast and stop being dramatic. I looked at her, and I just couldn't believe it. She didn't say anything to my husband for beating me. Instead, she told me to stop yelling, as if I was the problem for screaming while being hit. Like it was normal. Like I really was just some naughty maid being punished. Cook, Serioza repeated, breathing heavily. He still held the belt in his hand. I looked at all 3 of them. My husband with a belt, his sister in a silk robe, a stranger living in my apartment, and I realized, this isn't the end of a fight. This is the end of me. The person I had been for 7 years, she was gone. Because you don't hit someone with a belt if you see them as a human. You don't bark, cook, if you respect someone. You don't expect an exhausted person to apologize for being tired. So I made breakfast, silently, like a robot. They sat at the table planning the menu for Igor's parents, as if nothing had happened. And I stood at the stove, not planning revenge. I'd learn that later. I was planning my escape, but I wouldn't call it escape. You escape from people. I was getting free from owners. 3 days. That's how long it took me to go from victim to strategist. 3 days to realize a simple truth.
They don't love me.
They just use me. And if that's true, then it's time to stop being useful. Day 1. I did everything like usual. Cooked, cleaned, washed. They thought I was finally broken. That night, Serioza even patted me on the head. See? Isn't it better when there's no drama? Igor nodded. Good discipline. Alla added. Well done, Lena. I thought you were getting spoiled. While they were celebrating my silence, I was counting. I checked the money on my bank card. Not much saved in 7 years, but enough to start. I counted how many times I followed their orders in a day. 43. From bring coffee to iron my shirt. 43 times a day, I was their maid. That evening, I called my coworker, Alla. Hey, do you know anyone renting a room? I asked casually.
Oh, are you moving? She asked.
Maybe. Just checking. Serious's thinking of changing neighborhoods. Lying came easy now. After 7 years with them, I had become a master at it. Alla was a gold mine. You know, Marina from the 5th floor is looking for a roommate. It's a 1-bedroom, but big. You could use a curtain to separate the space. Only 5,000. I saved Marina's number. Day 2. I made copies of all my important documents: passport, job papers, marriage certificate, diplomas. I packed them in an envelope and took it to work, hid it in the office safe. Why are you taking this stuff? Asked Vera, the secretary. We're doing renovations at home, I told her. Didn't want them getting dusty. That was enough for her. That evening I called Marina. Her voice was kind but tired. Yes, the room's still free. You can come see it tomorrow after 6. I can come tonight at 10. Is that too late?
She was surprised but said yes.
I told the family I was visiting a friend whose mom was sick. They didn't even ask which friend. They didn't care, just told me to be back in the morning to cook breakfast. Marina's place was small but cozy. A bright kitchen, living room with a couch and desk, 1 bedroom. You have this corner of the living room, she said. We can put up a screen. It'll be like your own room. She was about 40, divorced, worked as a nurse in a private clinic. Quiet, calm. Are you leaving your husband? She asked directly. I froze. Is it that obvious? She smiled gently. Experience. Half the women I know have gone through this. Do you have kids? I shook my head. Then it's easier. Do you have some savings? I nodded. Then you can move in tomorrow. As I walked home, I felt a strange lightness. Like a heavy stone had finally fallen off my chest. I had a place to go. All I needed now was the right moment. And the moment came by itself. On day 3, Friday, Alla made an announcement. Tomorrow's my birthday. I'll be 28. Lena, make a cake and a bunch of salads, okay? Lots of people are coming. I nodded. Of course, Serioza added. And clean the place properly, or it'll be embarrassing in front of the guests.
Igor said.
I'll buy the alcohol. You girls take care of the food. He called both me and Alla girls. Even though I was the only one doing the work, Alla, at best, would slice some bread. That evening, I asked Serioza, are we getting Alla a birthday present? He shrugged. You know better what women like. Buy something. He gave me 1,500 rubles. Enough for some cheap earrings or a scarf. For comparison, on my birthday, Serioza spent 300 rubles and got me a box of chocolates. But that didn't matter anymore. I was thinking about something else. Alla's birthday was the perfect moment to leave. Everyone would be distracted, drunk and happy. No one would notice me quietly disappearing. Saturday morning, I woke up at 6 o'clock as usual. I made breakfast, set the table. Igor came down last, wearing a fancy robe, the one I had ironed for him. Lena, the coffee's cold, he said, annoyed. I warmed it up without a word. For the last time in my life. The day was a blur of chores. I cooked, cleaned, decorated the apartment. Alla twirled in front of the mirror in a new dress. A dress she bought with my money. She had taken it from my drawer, without asking. Lena, do you think this dress looks good on me? She asked. Yes, I said honestly.
It did.
And she could wear it as much as she wanted, because she'd never see another ruble from me again. By the evening, the apartment looked like a party hall. The table was full of food, candles were lit, flowers everywhere. I had done everything perfectly, for the last time in my life. Guests started arriving at 7 p.m. Alla's friends, Igor's co-workers, neighbors. About 15 people. I served drinks, brought out snacks, washed dishes. The perfect invisible servant. Some guests didn't even know I was the wife of the man hosting the party. They thought I was a hired maid. At 10 p.m., I knew it was time. Everyone was drunk, laughing, dancing. The music was loud. No one noticed me. Serioza was hugging some blonde girl from Alla's friend group. Igor was telling jokes. Alla was dancing on the table in her new dress. I went into the bedroom, took out the small bag I had packed that morning. Just the essentials, documents, money, a change of clothes. Nothing else. Everything else belonged to the woman I used to be, and she was gone. I left a note on the kitchen table. Find a new maid. The big-nosed mare is not yours anymore. Lena. Not wife, not sister-in-law, not little Lenachka. Just Lena. I left the apartment like a shadow. Quiet. Invisible.
No one saw me go.
They were celebrating Alla's birthday, not knowing they were also attending my funeral. Because the old Lena, the servant, died that night. And a whole new woman was born. The taxi took me to Marina's place in 15 minutes. I walked up with one small bag and a light heart. How are you? Marina asked when she opened the door. Great, I smiled. Everything's going to be great now. And you know what? I was right. For the first week, they didn't understand what had happened. They thought I got offended and would come back soon. Serioza called me once a day, leaving messages like, "Stop being silly. Come home." But his tone wasn't sad, it was annoyed, like a man calling for his lost dog. I didn't reply. I just listened and deleted. Each message only made me more sure that I had made the right choice. Lena, stop acting like a princess. Lena, we're a family. Don't make a drama. Alla's upset you ruined her party. Not a single "I'm sorry." Not one "please come back." Only complaints and commands. Marina turned out to be the perfect roommate. Quiet, respectful, with her own life. She worked 2 shifts and was rarely home. When we met in the kitchen, we chatted politely, but no personal questions. How's the new place? Getting used to it. Want tea? Thanks. I'll make it myself. Exactly what I needed. Peace, without loneliness. I went to work as usual, but now my salary was all mine. For the first time in 7 years, I bought myself good makeup, proper tights, and a decent purse. Nothing fancy, just quality things. My coworkers noticed. Something's different about you, Lena, said Alla. Did you go on vacation or something? I smiled. Something like that. Meanwhile, in my old apartment, chaos had begun. Marina told me little bits of gossip. Turns out we had a mutual friend, Luzia, from the next building. One evening Marina said, Luzia says something weird is happening at your old place. Neighbors complain about fights, loud music all night. I nodded, pretending not to care, but inside I was smiling. It started. Without me, their perfect little world began to fall apart like a house of cards. 2 weeks later, my mother-in-law called. Her voice was angry and full of pride. Lena, explain right now what this nonsense is. Sertsa says you left them. What kind of childish behavior is this? I stayed quiet. Lena, are you listening? Answer when elders speak. I hear you, Valentina Ivanovna, I said calmly. Then pack your things and come home, she barked. A home isn't a home without a woman in charge. Alla's young and doesn't know anything, and Sertsa is a man. He doesn't have time to run the house. You understand, right? I understand, I said. Good. So when will you come? Never, I said, and hung up. She kept calling for another 30 minutes. I didn't pick up. Then the messages started. Lena, you've lost your mind. Lena, I loved you like a daughter. Lena, think about the family's reputation. The last message was the most honest. Lena, how could you leave them like that? Who's going to cook now? Who's going to cook? That's what all their love really meant. A month later, I ran into Lucy at the store. She rushed up to me, smiling. Lenachka, I heard you moved out. How's the new place? It's fine, I said. Your husband looks terrible without you, Lucy said with pity. I saw him yesterday. He looks thin, unshaven, clothes all wrinkled. They say he takes his laundry to the dry cleaners now, but it's expensive. I smiled a little. Sertsa never knew how to iron. I'd been doing it since I was 14, first at home, then in the dorm, then for him. Now he'd have to learn or pay for it. And that sister-in-law of yours?
Lucy went on.
She's totally out of control. New men coming over every day, music blasting till morning. Neighbors can't sleep. Even the police came. I nodded. Alla always liked parties, but I used to make sure things didn't go too far. Now no one's watching. They say she finally got a job, Lucy added, as a waitress at a cafe. But who knows how long she'll last. I silently wished Alla good luck. Waitressing is hard work. You have to be polite, fast, and strong. None of that was ever her strength. 2 more weeks passed. Srca stopped calling, but then Igor called. His voice was cold, businesslike. Lena, we need to talk. Let's meet.
About what?
I asked. About how to fix the situation like adults. This can't go on. I laughed. He spoke like a man trying to negotiate a deal on a piece of equipment. Igor, why can't it go on? I'm actually enjoying myself. He paused, then said carefully, Lena, you're a smart woman. Let's be calm and discuss what you want so you can come back. I don't want anything to come back. I want to never go back, I said. He was clearly confused. But who will? Cook.
Clean?
Do laundry. I finished for him. I don't know, Igor. Maybe the people who eat, make the mess, and wear the clothes? Funny idea, huh? He hung up. Never called again. Meanwhile, I kept building my new life, simple, small, but truly mine. I woke up when I wanted. Not at 6 o'clock to cook breakfast for everyone, but at 7:30, just for me. I made coffee, ate yogurt with fruit, read the news. No one rushed me, criticized me, or demanded anything. After work, I went to the store and bought whatever I wanted. Not what Srca liked. Not what Alla asked for. Not what the family needed. I bought red fish, avocado, good cheese, small joys I hadn't allowed myself for 7 years. In the evenings, I read books or watched movies I liked. No action movies that Srca loved. No silly romantic dramas that made Alla cry. Just me. My life. My choices. I started watching good movies, reading smart books, and listening to classical music. It felt like I was discovering myself all over again. Marina would sometimes say, freedom suits you. You're glowing. And it was true. I felt alive for the first time in years. Not like someone who just served others. Not just someone's wife or unpaid maid. Just a real, living person. Meanwhile, in my old apartment, things were falling apart. Lucia, as always, had all the gossip. Can you believe it? She told Marina, who told me later. It's chaos over there now. Igor and Alla are always fighting. Serioza yells at everyone. Alla quit her job, said it was too much work, and Igor is threatening to move out. 3 months after I left, Igor did leave. He packed his things and walked out without saying a word, just like I once did. Alla cried for a week, then found a new guy, some Valera with no job and no place to live. He moved in after a month. This new one's even worse, Lucia said. Drinks, fights, steals money. Alla hides her bruises under makeup. I didn't feel sorry for her. I would have, if she had changed, understood her mistakes, become a better person. But she was still looking for a man to take care of her. Only now, her choices were worse. And Serioza? He kept getting thinner and more miserable. He worked, came home, ate instant noodles or frozen meals. He stopped ironing his shirts, stopped inviting friends over, ashamed of the mess at home. He became a shadow of the man he used to be. But you know what? I didn't feel proud or happy about it. I didn't want revenge or to see him suffer. I just felt calm. I knew I had made the right choice. Finally. Because real freedom isn't about revenge. It's when you no longer care about the people who once hurt you. When their problems are no longer your problems. When their pain isn't yours to carry anymore. You just live.
Truly live.
6 months after I left, something happened. I was walking home like usual when I saw someone at the bus stop. Even from behind, I knew it was Serioza. His slouched shoulders, old jacket, the way he nervously smoked like he couldn't breathe without it. I could have walked past. He wouldn't have seen me. But curiosity won. I wanted to see what he looked like up close. I walked up behind him and said quietly, "Hi, Serioza." He turned around and froze. I saw my ex-husband like it was the first time. Tired face, dark circles, Messy beard, wrinkled shirt, a missing button. But his eyes were the worst part. Empty, tired, guilty. Lena, he whispered. Lena, is that really you? I smiled. How are you, Serioza? He looked me up and down, shocked. In 6 months, I had completely changed, new haircut, nice clothes, confident posture. But most of all, I looked peaceful and healthy. He, on the other hand, looked like life had chewed him up. I'm okay, he said, unsure. You look good. Thanks, I replied. You don't. He flinched like I'd slapped him. Lena, can we talk? Just 5 minutes. I glanced at my watch. 3 minutes. My bus is coming. He swallowed. Things at home, it's bad. Alla's with that Valera guy. He hits her. Drinks our money away. Mom's sick. She's in the hospital. And I can't do it, Lena. I really can't. So what? I said calmly. Maybe you could help, he mumbled. At least help Alla. She's young, not very smart. That Valera might kill her. I laughed, honestly and out loud. Sirza, are you serious? You want me to help the same woman who clapped while you beat me with a belt? He turned pale. Len, we were all wrong back then, but… Time's up, I said as the bus pulled up. Good luck, Sirza. Handle it yourselves. I got on the bus and didn't look back. He just stood there, holding a cigarette with shaky hands. That night, I told Marina what happened. She shook her head. The nerve of them. They ruined everything, and now they're asking for help. Marina was a wise woman. She left her alcoholic husband 10 years ago and had lived peacefully ever since. You know what he'll do next? She asked. He'll start playing the victim, telling everyone how heartless and cruel you are. And she was right. A week later, my coworker Nina called. Len, I saw your ex-husband at the clinic with his mom. He says you completely abandoned them, that you won't even visit your sick mother-in-law. Is that true? It is, I answered calmly. But how come? She's sick. Nina, I interrupted, remember when I had the flu and a fever over 40 degrees? My mother-in-law still made me cook dinner for guests. You remember that, don't you? Nina was quiet. She remembered. I used to cry about it in the office bathroom. This is different, I said gently. Now they can take care of her themselves, like I did for 7 years. After that, Nina never brought it up again. But the real surprise came a month later. Luzia showed up with big news. Guess what? Valentina Ivanovna got discharged from the hospital. And you won't believe what she did. She kicked Valera out. Turns out, her time in the hospital had cleared her head. She finally saw what a mess her home had become. She came back, found Valera drunk and hitting Alla with a frying pan. Sirza? Hiding in the bedroom like nothing was happening. Grandma stepped in between them, Luzia said, impressed. And she shouted, Get out of my house. I don't want to see you here again. Valera yelled back. Who do you think you are, you old hag? So she grabbed the frying pan and smacked him hard. He ran off screaming. I imagined the scene and couldn't help but smile. Valentina Ivanovna was small but fierce. People used to say she even hit her husband when she was younger. Looks like her temper never changed. But getting rid of Valera didn't fix everything. Alla was left with a bruised face and a broken mind. She couldn't work. She was scared to go outside. Sirza didn't earn enough money for the 3 of them. Valentina Ivanovna had a tiny pension and needed medication. A week later, Luzia said, they started selling furniture. First the TV, then the fridge. They got a cheaper one. Now they're selling the couch. I knew that couch. Expensive. Leather. Sirza was so proud of it. He spent 2 years choosing it, even took out a loan. I told him it was too much for our budget. But he said, a man should live in style. Well, now his stylish life was falling apart piece by piece. But the worst was still coming. Marina came home one night looking serious. Did you hear the news? She asked. Your old apartment is up for sale. I nearly choked on my tea. How is it for sale? Luzia says they put up an ad yesterday, Marina told me. Urgent sale. Price is lower than market. The neighbors think maybe they're in debt, Or maybe they just can't stand the chaos anymore. I stayed quiet, trying to process it. The apartment was officially in Sergey's name, but we bought it together. I paid almost half. I worked, saved money, helped pay for it. And now he was selling it without asking me. You could claim your share, Marina said, reading my mind. I shook my head. Let them sell it. I don't care. And I really didn't. That place was never a real home to me. It was a place where I was treated like a servant, where I was humiliated and hit. I was nobody there. Let them sell it along with all the memories. A month later, it was sold to a young family with a child. Lucia said they started renovations right away, ripping off the old wallpaper, changing the floors. Apparently the place smelled horrible, cigarettes, beer, and must. They had to keep the windows open for a week. Meanwhile, Sergey, Alla, and his sick mom moved into a tiny one-room apartment on the outskirts of the city. An old Soviet building. Cold in winter, hot in summer. The kitchen was just 6 square meters, the room 15. 3 adults living like in a shared dorm. Alla is losing her mind, Lucia reported. She yells at her mom, then at her brother. Says they ruined her life. Sergey started drinking again. The neighbors say he fights with Alla at night, and the mother cries all the time. I listened like it was news from some faraway place. These were people I once knew, but they no longer had anything to do with me. Their pain wasn't mine anymore. Their problems weren't mine either. I had a new life. I joined English classes, started going to the gym, bought a theater pass, and met up with friends I hadn't seen in years. Sergey never liked it when I went out before. But now I went on weekend trips, visited museums, read books. Marina would sometimes say, "It's like you were born again." And it was true. I was discovering someone I hadn't known for 7 years. I realized I could laugh again, dream again, and feel happy for no reason. And they kept falling apart. Each one blaming the others. No one wanted to take responsibility. No one wanted to change. And the scariest part? They still waited for me to come back. To feel sorry for them. To help. To save them. Because they didn't understand one simple truth. Some bridges, once burned, never get rebuilt. And some people, once they leave, never come back. The final meeting happened 2 years later. I was leaving the theater after a show, feeling great. I wore a beautiful dress, had a fresh haircut, and held a bouquet of flowers from my coworkers. It was my birthday. I had just turned 35. It was the best birthday of my life. And then I saw her. Alla was sitting on a bench outside the theater. At first, I didn't even recognize her. She looked about 40, though she was only 30. Worn-out jacket, torn shoes, greasy hair, swollen face. She held a cardboard sign. "Help us. My mother is sick. We have no money for medicine." Our eyes met. She recognized me first, blushed, and quickly tried to hide the sign, but it was too late. I walked up to her. "Hi, Alla," I said calmly. She looked down at the ground. Then she asked quietly, You won't tell anyone?" "Tell who? And why?" We sat on nearby benches in silence for 5 minutes. I watched her secretly. Her beauty was completely gone, not from age, but from life. From the choices she had made every single day over the past 2 years. "How's your mom?" I asked finally. "She died," Alla answered flatly. "A month ago. Stroke." She went quiet again. Sergey started drinking even more after the funeral.
He lost his job.
Now he just wanders around. He hasn't come home in 3 days. I nodded. "And you?" I asked. She sniffled. "Lena, can I be honest with you?" "Go ahead. I've always been jealous of you. Ever since I first came to your house. You were real. You knew what you wanted, you could do anything, and you didn't depend on anyone.
But me?
I spent my whole life waiting for someone to save me, my husband, my brother, my mom, some man. I thought my looks were enough." She looked up at me. "Now I understand. No one saves you. Beauty fades, but you still have to live your life." I took some money out of my purse, not much, but enough for food for a week, and handed it to her. "No, don't." Alla shook her head. "I didn't come for that. I know. But take it for your mom, in her memory." Alla took the money with trembling hands. Lena, can you forgive us? I thought about it. I had asked myself that question many times over the last 2 years. Was I angry? Did I hate them? Did I want revenge? You know, Alla, I said slowly, I already forgave you. A long time ago. Not because you deserved it, but because holding on to anger poisons the person who carries it. And I don't want to poison myself. But she began. You gave me a gift, I interrupted. The biggest gift of my life. You showed me who I don't want to be. And you helped me understand who I do want to become. If you had treated me well, I would have spent my life as a housemaid.
But now?
Now I'm living. Alla looked at me, wide-eyed. Are you happy? Very, I smiled. Every single day. And aren't you lonely? I laughed. Alla, I was lonely for 7 years, lonely in a marriage. Surrounded by people who said they loved me, but made me feel like nothing. Now I have friends, a job, hobbies. I have myself. It's not loneliness. It's freedom. We sat quietly a bit longer. Then I stood up. I have to go. Lena. Alla called out. If I want to change my life, where do I start? I looked back. Start by being honest with yourself. See who you really are, without excuses or lies. And then decide, do you like that person? If yes, great. If no, that means there's work to do. I walked to the corner and looked back. Alla was still sitting on the bench, but the cardboard sign was gone. She was looking up at the sky, deep in thought. When I got home, Marina greeted me with a cake and a bottle of champagne. Happy birthday, my friend. How was the theater? I told her about the show and the meeting with Alla. And how do you feel? She asked. Light, I answered honestly. So light, like a heavy weight finally lifted off my soul. We raised a glass to my new year of life, to freedom, and to the right to be yourself. 6 months later, I met Mikhail, a doctor, a widower, a kind man with gentle eyes and strong hands. He wasn't looking for a servant or a queen. He was looking for an equal, a partner, a friend. We cooked dinner together, took turns washing dishes, made weekend plans as equals. He never said, go do this. He asked, want me to cook? Or shall we clean together? You're an amazing woman, he told me a month after we met. Independent, strong, but still soft. How did you keep that balance? I smiled. That's a long story. I'll tell you someday. But I didn't really need to. The most important thing was he saw me as a whole person, not just someone pretty to serve others. A year later, we got married. Quietly with a few friends. No big show, no drama. Just 2 grown people choosing to walk through life together. At the wedding, Marina made a toast. To Lena, to the woman who turned pain into wisdom, and humiliation into strength. To those brave enough to begin again. People were drinking, congratulating me, wishing me happiness, and I was just thinking how strange life is. The ones who tried to break me actually taught me how to be strong. The ones who insulted me made me believe in my own worth. The ones who took away my freedom helped me understand how valuable it really is. And the most surprising part? I was thankful to them. Not for the pain they caused, but for the lesson they gave me, for the chance to become the person I am now. Because revenge is when you want your enemies to suffer. But wisdom is when you thank them for the lesson and move on toward your own happiness, your new life, and your true self. Sometimes I think about Serioza and Alla. I wonder if they ever found their own path. Did they ever realize that every person should be treated like something precious, not like a tool? Did they ever learn to value what they had instead of always wanting more? But those questions aren't mine anymore. I have my own life now. A life that's beautiful, honest, full of love and respect. A life where I wake up not because someone is yelling for breakfast, but because I want to live. And that really is the best kind of revenge. To live happily, no matter what those people try to do to you. And I do live. And it's wonderful. 5 years later. This morning I woke up to the smell of coffee and the sound of cooking in the kitchen. Mikhail had woken up early and was making breakfast, like he does every weekend for the past 4 years. Not because I ask him to, not because he has to, just because he loves spoiling me. I stayed in bed for 5 more minutes, listening to him quietly humming a song while cooking. I thought about how much my life had changed.
How much I had changed.
The woman who used to jump at every shout, with belt marks on her back, now feels like a stranger to me. "Good morning, beautiful," Mikhail said as he came into the room with a cup of fresh coffee. "Breakfast is ready, but no rush, it's Saturday." That's the difference. No rush instead of hurry up. Beautiful instead of big-nosed mare. Breakfast is ready instead of where's my breakfast? Then I saw a surprise waiting for me on the kitchen table. A newspaper open to the job listings. One ad was circled in red. "What's this?" I asked, pointing to it. "It's a job opening," he said. "Head nurse at a new private clinic. The pay is double what you make now. Think about it, you might want to try." I read the ad. It really was a great opportunity. A serious job, good working conditions, a chance to grow professionally. I looked at him and asked, "How would you feel if I worked more hours? Came home later?" Mikhail looked surprised. "Lena," he said, "this is your career, your life. I'll support you no matter what, as long as you're happy." That was another difference. My first husband saw my job as something that got in the way of housework. "You're working for fun, and the house is a mess," he would say. Mikhail sees my work as part of who I am, something to support and encourage. After breakfast, we went for a walk in the park. On the way, we stopped at a flower shop to buy a bouquet for Mikhail's mother's grave. He visits her every weekend. He tells her about our life and asks for her blessing for our plans. "My mom would have really loved you," he said, laying flowers on her grave. "She always said, the most important things in a woman are not beauty, but a kind heart and strong character. You have both." I stood quietly beside him, thinking, what if I had never left 5 years ago? Maybe by now, Seryoza would have beaten me to death. Or I would have gone crazy from all the constant humiliation. But I did leave. And I chose me. And now, I'm finally free. Maybe I would have still been living like that, like a robot, just following orders. But I left. And now, I'm standing in a cemetery next to a man who truly loves and respects me. He sees me as a person, not as a servant. On the way back, we ran into Marina. She was rushing to her shift at the clinic. "Lena, how are you?" "Hi, Mikhail." "Hey, did you see that job ad in the paper? A new clinic is looking for a head nurse. That job is perfect for you."
We laughed.
"Yep, Mikhail is already pushing me to apply." "Well, he's right," Marina smiled. "You're a great nurse. It's time to move forward." When we got home, I sat down at the computer to work on my resume. Mikhail sat nearby with a book, but I could feel him watching me. "Nervous?" he asked. "Not really, just been at the same job for a long time. I'm not used to change." "Remember what you told me once? That the scariest changes are often the right ones." I smiled. "I did remember." He added, "You're a strong woman. You can handle anything." Strong woman. That sounded so nice. There was a time when I thought I was weak and worthless, that I only deserved the crumbs from someone else's table. That evening, we watched a movie, just a simple romantic drama. In one scene, the woman tells her husband, "I'm tired of being your shadow. I want to be myself." And then she leaves him. Sound familiar? Mikhail asked, half smiling.
Very.
"But real life is harder than movies," I said. "Do you ever regret that I changed everything?" I paused and thought about it. Those 7 years of pain and humiliation. The years I wasted on people who never valued me. "No," I said. "Even the bad times taught me something. If it wasn't for those years, I wouldn't know what it means to be truly respected and loved." Mikhail hugged me tightly. "I'm thankful to your ex," he said. "If he hadn't been such a jerk, you'd still be with him. Now I get to have you." We laughed. It's strange, but true. Sertsa gave me a gift without knowing it. He set me free to find real love. Before bed, I stepped out onto the balcony for some air. Across the street, the lights were on in another apartment. A young couple lived there with their little boy. I often saw them in the evenings. The husband helped cook. The wife read bedtime stories. They cleaned up the toys together.
Just a normal, loving family.
A home where everyone respects each other. That's the kind of family Mikhail and I are building, slowly, carefully, on a foundation of mutual respect. Tomorrow, I'll send my resume to the new clinic. Maybe they'll invite me for an interview.
Maybe I'll get the job.
Or maybe I won't. But that's okay. What matters is, I'm not afraid to try. I'm not afraid to change. I'm not afraid to be myself anymore. Because I finally understand. The biggest victory is when you live not to please others, but to be truly happy. And now I am. Every day, every hour, somewhere, in a tiny one-room apartment on the edge of the city. My ex-husband might still be waiting, hoping I'll come back and fix his broken life. Let him wait. I have my own life now. A beautiful, honest, real life. The end.